Ever since the release of Super Mario World, Yoshi has been a staple of the Super Mario Bros. Community and fandom. I mean, hey, how could you not love the green little dinosaur dude? Now, we all know at this point that a huge piece of Embur Ray lore is that I am a huge fan of Yoshi. I mean, look at my channel banner. So being a big fan of Yoshi, obviously I'm gonna want to play all the Yoshi games I can possibly get my grimy little mitts on. One of those games that eluded me for the longest time was Yoshi's debut in his own game series, which, fun fact, this was supposed to be a sequel to the hit game Super Mario World, which I didn't know until I actually googled it. Yoshi's Island for the SNES, aka the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Well, okay, it hasn't eluded me, so to speak, but more so I was too gosh darn lazy to finish one profile. So a while back in 2024, I played the game and finished it. After a decade-long wait. I know, I'm ashamed of myself too. Don't worry. Anyway, let's get into this adventure with our boy Yoshi. Yoshi's Island starts with a classic storybook feel, with a stork flying around the skies, delivering babies to their parents. Until all of a sudden out of nowhere, Kamek comes out and suddenly, BAM! He hits the stork and snatches a baby from him, and the other one falls down to the unknown below. Meanwhile, on Yoshi's Island, Yoshi, our lad, is taking a walk with the baby that just fell, bonks him on the noggin, and out pops Baby Mario. That's not the only thing that falls. A map. A map the stork was using to travel around. But Yoshi boy here can't figure it out, so he goes to talk to some of the other Yoshi buddies that live on the island and maybe try to figure out this map. Meanwhile, Kamek and his forces discover that he ended up missing a baby, like a frickin' loser, and dispatches his minions to locate the other baby post-haste. Meanwhile, Yoshi, blissfully unaware of the dangers, is just walking back to his other Yoshi buddies as Kamek's goonies lock in on him and follow him. Yoshi eventually reunites with his Yoshi buddies, and they decide to help Baby Mario and rescue his twin brother and the stork from Kamek. Now, what is the gameplay here? We know the basic story, but what's the gameplay? This is basically one long and very fun escort missions, where depending on what level you're playing, one of the 8 Yoshis will take turns trekking through a level with Baby Mario on their back before Kamek and his goons can get a hold of Baby Mario and pass him along to the next Yoshi, all the way around Yoshi's Island. The first bit of the game teaches you how to play, how to sprint, how to eat enemies and make eggs, jump on bouncy balls with an arrow on it that sends you up high, and then it throws you into the first level. Now, this is where I noticed that Nintendo really went all out with the magic of Yoshi's Island. This was the first time ever Yoshi was his own playable character, so they really only had Yoshi's abilities from Super Mario World to expand upon, and that's something I think that Nintendo did really well. They really developed a bit more of Yoshi's character here, and it was very much needed because in Super Mario World, he was literally just Mario's horse. Which I am very aware sounds really terrible when I say it like that, but that's literally how Yoshi was created. Quick little history lesson. Miyamoto originally wanted Yoshi to be Mario's steed, but then Yoshi's Island came along. Anyway, Yoshi's abilities are amazingly expanded, using a clever egg mechanic when you swallow enemies, and you can shoot these eggs at piranha plants, cloud eggs that will drop coins and little stars. We'll get back to those little stars in a bit. These eggs have 3 different colors. The default green eggs, which will just take out enemies or activate clouds to drop loot. Then, the yellow eggs. They drop coins when you use them on enemies or the clouds to drop loot. And then there are the red and yellow eggs. These eggs will give you 2 little stars on impact and can actually be insanely freaking helpful when trying to replenish your star point timer. So it's worth taking a little bit of extra time to get your hands on those red eggs, which you can easily get if you ricochet the green egg off the wall 2 times. This is best done in the fortress levels, as there are many walls to bounce the eggs off of. This was also the game that introduced Yoshi's iconic flutter jump, which Yoshi weirdly lacked in Super Mario World, which, to be honest, is a little bit goofy to look back on. This flutter jump ended up saving me quite a few times in this game, and it's overall insanely fun to use. There are some other powers Yoshi has, but we'll get to that later on in this video. Anyway, for every level, there is a different Yoshi guiding baby Mario and essentially acting as a baby bodyguard. And you have to pass him along to the next Yoshi, to the next until you beat the world and move on to the next. One of my favorite things about this game is how different and beautiful each of those levels are. Each level has a theme and pacing, which does a really good job of keeping the game interesting. But like many other games, there are a plentiful amount of collectibles that you can get your hands on throughout the level, and it makes you keep your eyes open too. There are the normal coins. Collect 100 of those and you'll get a 1-up. The red coins, there are 20 in each level, and then there are these little stars that I mentioned before. And if you haven't noticed before, there is a timer too. These little stars will add a few seconds to the timer, depending on how many you get. You get 5 stars, you get 5 seconds. You get 1 star, you get 1 second, and yeah, you get the point. Basically, they will boost up the timer, and it'll also really help you too. If you lose Baby Mario, you got a few more seconds of time to grab him. And finally, there are these cute little daisies. There are 5 in each level. If you collect all 5 daisies, all 20 red coins, and have 30 seconds left on the timer, you will earn 100 points and 100% the level. Also, can I just say really quickly, I love that this is written down on a chalkboard. It's so cute! One quick thing, if you land on a flower in the flower ring Yoshi jumps in at the end of the level, you get to play some bonus matches. There's flip cards, scratch and match, drawing lots, slot machines, match cards, and roulette, depending on which world you're in. I only got these bonus matches about 3 or 4 times in each world, and the only way I knew about roulette was because my friend called me up while I was playing and asked if I got roulette, and I was like, nope! But yeah, these bonus challenges can really help you along the way if you can win some. I only won the scratch and match and slot machines. I literally suck at everything else! I'm not crying, you are! Anyway, you can win a bunch of 1-ups and some power-ups here if you play your cards right. Not only that, they're actually quite a bit of fun to play and a really nice distraction. The enemies in Yoshi's Island are certainly something. Sure, you've got the run-of-the-mill Shy Guys, Goombas, Piranha Plants, more Piranha Plants that spit these things at Yoshi, Koopa Troopas, Paratroopas, Bullet Bills, Boos, Crazy Daisies, Bandits, and, you know, all that jazz. But you also have Fangs, Nipper Plants, Lungefish, I hated those things, Milds, Shy Guys on Stilts. Yeah, Yoshi's Island really went buck wild with the enemies here. Some are a bit better than others and more annoying to deal with than others, but they all play their roles insanely well here. The enemy placements are completely fair for where they are, and some of the enemies they introduced us to in this game are actually decent. They're not too hard, not too easy, and they're completely fair to beat as you progress through the 6 worlds of Yoshi's Island. Shockingly enough, these enemies do not give me too much trouble. Just the decent amount that you'd expect from a first full serious playthrough. Something I very quickly realized was the fact that these levels had a good bump up in difficulty in each one, but it's not too difficult to the point where you want to throw in the towel. These levels are completely fair for where they are in the game, and while some have some parts that either confused me or made me a bit mad, I still had a ball playing them. There are some levels out there that are tricky and you're gonna die a couple of times, but the key is patience and timing. Despite some levels being hard to get 100% on, they're still fun to play and are classical gems. However, there is only one level in this game that I utterly freaking despised. 3-6, The Cave of Hairy Hedgehog, aka Sonic's distant cousin. I don't like this level one bit because it took me a very long time to figure it out because this level is a freaking maze. Probably because I got distracted with trying to get the 100% on this level that I kept getting turned around completely. That and also, why the heck do them hedgehogs look like Sonic's distant cousin like I said before? I actually got a real kick out of these guys when I first saw them, but then they made me lose Baby Mario. Damn you, Harry! One thing I will say Nintendo learned a lot from Super Mario World is the fortress and the castle levels. The Nintendo team really learned a lot about how to do these levels from their previous game, Super Mario World. Mainly because these castles were a lot more polished and a lot more fun, and they were just enjoyable. And then there's the ones in Super Mario World, which to me felt kinda, bland compared to Yoshi's Island. There's going to be a war zone in that comment section. Yeah, these fortresses and castles had a certain feel to them. I love it so much! These castles are easily my favorite levels due to the difficulty and problem-solving skills required to get through these castles and fortress levels. They feel menacing and, hell, even a bit scary at times. And some of them are confusing to navigate, to be honest. Some of them actually got me turned around and made me pretty confused at times. However, it wasn't a bad kind of confusion, and it only happened once. If anything, it was actually really fulfilling after I finally found my way through the castle after so long. But hey, at least I got to enjoy the amazing tunes while I was gallivanting around the castles and being a Dumbo. Now, earlier I mentioned there were some other powers that Yoshi could use. Well, there are, but to me they feel goofy. And I love it! If Yoshi jumps into a bubble that has a helicopter in it, he becomes a helicopter and can fly around like a helicopter. He can also turn into a mole tank, thing. I do not know what that thing is. He can also turn into a car that has extendo wheels, a submarine that can go faster than water and shoot torpedoes at enemies, and my personal favorite, a train that can ride on train tracks drawn onto the walls, which I found insanely adorable and really creative outside-the-box thinking. These transformations are actually very creative on Nintendo's part and are a lot of fun to use. The one I didn't like very much was the mole tank thing. Hey, Editor Embur, correct me if I'm wrong here. Sure thing, buddy. Yeah, it's called a mole tank. You're good. Its movement was a little bit jank. But then again, it's not terrible to the point where I have any real complaints with it. Just a little bit janky. These transformations really made the game more enjoyable, and it really presented a creative thing that I hadn't seen in gaming up until that point, as far as I'm aware. There are 3 more things Yoshi can do. Not via superpowers or a transformation bubble, but thanks to the magical powers of fruit! In a few levels, there will be these green, red, or icy blue little melons hanging around on trees. The green melons, like their real-life counterpart, is just a watermelon. Delicious. Except Yoshi can spit their seeds like projectiles when the melon is in his mouth. The red watermelon makes Yoshi spit fire like a dragon. And the icy blue watermelon makes Yoshi spout an icy breeze and freeze the enemy. These watermelons can be found in various levels throughout the game and can actually get you out of some sticky situations you might find yourself in. I personally tend to avoid using these melons if possible, mainly because I would rather jump on the enemy or turn them into an egg. But overall, the melon mechanic actually works pretty well, and a lot of people actually really liked it. Yoshi's not the only one who has superpowers here. Baby Mario does too. Whenever you find one of these little stars and grab it, Yoshi will become a big egg and you'll get to play as Super Baby Mario, run up the walls, insta-kill enemies, and float around with Baby Mario's cape. However, this power-up doesn't last all that long. Reasonably so, it's kinda freaking broken. The way you can just run up the walls and insta-kill enemies with no repercussions. I actually feel like this was a good way to include Baby Mario in the gameplay somehow. Even though you can only find these stars in certain levels, which actually levels it out insanely well, and I think Nintendo, again, learned from Super Mario World with the cape problem they had. Anyway, one of my favorite levels that features Super Baby Mario is Go Go Mario. This level is just sheer chaos and fun on a stick, and I loved every minute of it. By far one of my favorite levels in this game. The music in Yoshi's Island is just, oh my goodness! Koji Kondo, aka The GOAT, who also did Super Mario World's music, did the music for Yoshi's Island, and I just gotta say this about Koji Kondo. His work is amazing, but in Yoshi's Island, it is absolutely another level of breathtaking. It is super easy to see why these tunes are so memorable and iconic. They are so lovely, and they're so memorable. These tunes are easily right up there with Super Mario World's music on the hierarchy of gaming OSTs. This music either makes me very happy or very relaxed while playing this game, and it makes it all the more enjoyable for me. My favorite track is either the athletic theme or the world map. They just remind me all the time that I'm playing Yoshi's Island, and that's one of the best reminders of all time out there for me. The art style here is also one of my favorite things out there in gaming. I talked about how much I love the sprite work art styles before in the Super Mario World video, but oh boy, this game took it to the next level with this game looking like something made with crayons and coloring pencils. I love this art style so much. It always brings me joy to look at this pretty art and try to get through this game. One thing that will never cease to amaze me is that this game is hand-drawn. Hand-drawn! Like, holy crap! As an artist, my appreciation for Nintendo at that point just went way up. That is just mad impressive, and I love it so much. It fits the SNES era so well too. And I wish that it was more common in today's games. It's honestly one of the best art styles Nintendo ever used in any game. One thing I actually did forget to mention is the mini-games that you'll encounter in the middle of the levels. During your trek through certain levels, you'll encounter one of these locked doors. After finding the key to unlock the door, you'll encounter one of 4 mini-games. Throwing balloons, you must do a button sequence in decent time to keep the balloon from popping. Gather coins. You gotta grab more coins than the bandits and try to have the most. Popping balloons. Pop the balloons and try to find the power-up card before you're the bandit. And last but not least, the watermelon seed spitting contest. My god, that was a mouthful. You gotta shoot your enemies down as fast as possible. Now, I personally enjoyed the watermelon seed game the most because it was significantly easier than the balloon toss and I could actually play it. I don't think I've won the balloon toss one freaking time. These mini games actually are kind of fun to play when you get your hands on the key to the door. Now, I personally wasn't a huge fan of the popping balloons and the balloon toss. I gotta admit, finding coins and shooting watermelon seeds was way more fun. At least in my case. Okay, I feel like I danced around the subject long enough. The bosses. The bosses are a mixed bag here. Some of them are fantastic and fun and are actually a decent challenge, and some are pretty lazy and boring as heck. My 2 personal favorites being Hook Bill, the World 4 boss, and Tap Tap the Red Nose. Not kidding, that's his actual name. Hook Bill was fun to fight because he was pretty unpredictable for my first time getting to him, and it was overall pretty fun, especially when I got to knock him over and ground pound him. I will admit his attack pattern is actually really freaking difficult for me to dodge, but hey, he was actually really fun. Then there's Tap Tap, the red-nosed Tap Tap thing. I was gonna say the red-nosed reindeer. I like this guy's fight. It's actually one of the boss fights that you can tell Nintendo used some major outside-the-box thinking for. Tap Taps are one of the very few enemies in the game that Yoshi can't kill via traditional methods, such as swallowing him whole and making him an egg, or spitting him back out over the edge, or even shooting eggs won't work on this guy. Hell, you can't even ground pound him because, I don't know about you, but I'm not really intent on ground pounding some spikes with my butt first. So you gotta use creative methods to defeat Tap Tap here. And that creative method is pulling a move out of Mario's book and dunking the sucker in lava being taken out the floor underneath them. That to me was actually a good way to get rid of this dude because eggs won't kill him, trying to swallow him sure as heck ain't gonna work, ground pounding him won't work, but dunking him in lava? Now that sounds like a solution! Now, obviously not every boss is gonna be perfect, but there are 2 bosses in this game that made me go, what the heck are these things? Is this a boss? My 2 worst in my opinion were World 5's Fortress boss, Sluggy the Unshaven, and World 1's Castle boss, Salvo the Slime. Now, one thing that I firmly believe a boss fight should be able to do is do some kind of damage in some way. I think we all agree with that one. That's what makes a boss fight a boss fight. But these two don't even do that. Starting with Sluggy here. Sluggy the Unshaven just pushes Yoshi, and you have to rapid fire exit her and try to hit her hard. No resistance other than her pushing Yoshi back and trying to push him and Baby Mario into oblivion. In my opinion, this is World 1 worthy. Heck, even Bert the Bashful put more of a fight than this. And at least he does damage! Then there's Salvo the Slime, which, this thing is even more of a joke than Sluggy the Unshaven. The World 1 boss is Salvo the Slime, and this thing can't hurt you at all. You have to shoot eggs at him to make him smaller, and those little slime balls can hurt you. So it's not exactly worse than Sluggy, but man, this should not be the case! The boss itself and the little minions should be doing damage, not just the little buggers. Yeah, I was quite disappointed with Salvo and Sluggy, but not all the bosses are bad. They're quite interesting, if anything. But I wish Nintendo did a little bit of a better job of placing these bosses. Like, put Salvo in the first fortress and Sluggy in the second world's fortress or the first castle. Then put Bert in the second fortress. Then there, problem solved. Except there's a few others, but yeah, whatever. Now, I did want to talk about the final boss and the final level a bit, but I don't want to spoil it for those who haven't played this gem. But I warn you, this final boss, this thing is mean. It took me a lot of tries to beat this thing. It was genuinely really hard, but I love this boss fight so much, and when you finally do beat it, it's one of the most rewarding things I've ever experienced ever. It's not the hardest final boss fight I've ever taken on, but it's also not at all the easiest one I've ever taken on. The final level before the boss, though, that is... oh my goodness, this is amazing! I love this level so much. It's easily one of the best final levels in Mario's giant package of games, in my opinion. Anyway, there's only one other main complaint I have. Baby Mario has one annoying as hell cry. Whenever Yoshi gets hit, Baby Mario will fall off his back and be trapped in a bubble. The baby will then proceed to bawl his little eyes out until Yoshi pops the bubble and get him on his back, or Kamek takes him away. Well, not Kamek, his goons, but you get the point. Now, I know that this is meant to be motivational in a way to say, hurry up before your eardrums burst and your clock runs out and you can't get the baby! I know that was the intent, but it majorly backfired in my opinion. I've heard countless people complain about Baby Mario's cries, myself included. I mean, it's not that bad, but it can get on your nerves at times. Other than the boss placement and Baby Mario's constant cries, I have no real qualms or complaints about this game. I don't know why this game plays so well, but it does, and it's a war crime that it plays this well so many years later. And I swear, I'm usually pretty critical at times, but this game was really well made and put together. It is an easygoing game that isn't afraid to whoop your ass, especially in Worlds 5 through 6. But even then, the game difficulty is completely fair. It's a fair and easygoing game. One that I would totally play again sometime in the future. I hope to maybe play it again someday, and who knows? Maybe there'll be a new Yoshi's Island game on the Switch too. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Hey, everyone! So yeah, this one is a bit of a longer video, again. I swear, I have a little bit of a habit of doing that. Anyway, I want to thank you all so much. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. And also, be sure to go check out the thumbnail artist, Lucas. He did an amazing job on the thumbnail. It's just so cute! Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you all in the next video. Take care, guys. Bye!